Hello everyone and welcome back to another video and welcome to a review for the Super Saiyan Son Gohan, the fighter who surpassed Goku, S.H.Figuarts from the Cell Saga. This is a big release, probably one of the biggest of the year, and I just got it in from amiami.com, so thank you very much to them for sending it out with really fast shipping. And yeah, I am really excited for this guy, a new Teen Gohan with, a 3.0 body. This new 3.0 that everyone's hyped about. We've seen it with the Goku. It's very good and I'm really excited to get into this. Now, there's one thing I have to address. Apparently, there's some quality control issues with this figure. So, I'm going to get into it and see if mine has any quality control issues. But before we get into it, let's take a quick look at the box. At the front, you can see the plastic window. We've got the text. We've got a picture of the figure with that really, really nice yellow color for the Super Saiyan hair. And at the back, we got loads of pictures of the figure. I've seen loads of different pictures and reviews of this figure. Even though it only came out a few days ago, I am lucky to get it in pretty early. But yeah, I am very excited to get into it. So, let's open the box and take a closer look at this figure. So here is Gohan out of his packaging, and it has been quite a long time since I actually recorded the first intro clip. So the clip you just saw to this one, it's been a few weeks. Mainly because there's slight issues with this figure which needed to be fixed, and I'll get into that in a minute. But what I just want to say is I'll just do the accessories first just to get those out of the way, and then we can focus on the figure after. So if I bring this forward, I'm going to keep them in here just so it's easier. So start off with the cape. We've got the plastic shoulder guard with the wired and cloth piece for the cape, which is a new system, which looks really good. We've got the windy hairpiece, the alternate hairpiece, with the screaming face on it, which also looks really good. We've got the wide-eyed, I don't know what this is from. I think it's more manga style, sort of straight face. We've got the gritted teeth, alternate faceplate. We've got the sort of shocked with the scratched up alternate faceplate for that famous scene where he kind of snaps and then he comes with the normal faceplate, like just a straight face on out the packaging. Then we've got 4 alternate pairs of hands, the flat palms, and then just a lot of variations of Kamehameha or blast hands and like open palm. So we've got 3 variations of those, and then he comes on with the fisted hands out of packaging. Yeah, but with the accessories done, I'll show you those in a bit more detail later. But yeah, with the accessories done, let's move on to the figure itself. So moving on to the figure itself, and like I said, this figure does have a problem which sort of caused the delays of these clips being recorded alongside just current life stuff that I was just sorting out. So yeah, pretty much what happened was, and those of you who watch the channel will know, that the first check that I do when I get a new figure is the quality control check. This is a check to make sure that nothing's broken on the figure out of the packaging, or that nothing has the potential to break. Because obviously if something's broken, it doesn't allow me to review the figure in its full capacity and give you a proper verdict. So this figure out the packaging, and I've heard it's a very, very common problem, but I've heard also that there is a decent amount of copies that don't have this problem. I think it's a very balanced issue, is that the ball joints, the ball pegs on the leg that connect the 2 legs are essentially very tight. I think maybe there's slightly too much plastic there, and it kind of stops the legs from rotating. And then when you do rotate them, obviously it will cause pressure on the peg and just cause the leg to snap off, which was happening to quite a lot of people's copies actually. And I did move the legs after I opened it, after that first clip that was recorded, and mine were really struggling to move. So essentially what I had to do, and I'm going to try and add pictures because I'm pretty sure I did take pictures when I was doing it, is that I popped the legs off by popping the figure in hot water. popped the legs off, and sanded down the pegs so they would be smaller, so they could pop in easier and rotate easier, and also added some oil. And this process took a while because I haven't actually sanded down pegs before. This is the first figure that I've done it for, so I had to be really careful to make sure, number one, that I was sanding it properly and that I wasn't sanding too much off. And even now, they're still slightly tight when I move them, but the oil does help with that. And the oil that I use, for some reason, I don't know if anyone has any tips for this, it takes quite a while to come off. So it'll like run through the joints, and I'll have to spend a couple of days cleaning it just to make sure, especially with this figure, where there's a cape, which is a white cape, and then if the oil gets on it, it'll stain. I don't want anything like that to happen. So yeah, I had to just make sure, and it has been a few weeks, because then stuff that came up with, like, you know, just university assignments and stuff, I just had to do those and get those out of the way. But yeah, I am back now, and I am fully free to do reviews and stuff, so we'll be getting back to that. But yeah, essentially that's the problem. I'm gonna add pictures of what I did and how I fixed it, so if you have that issue with your copy, you'll know what to do. But yeah, that's the main problem, and obviously I'm gonna knock points off at the end for that. But yeah, besides from that, let's actually get into the figure properly this time. So starting off with the look of the figure, and I can't really fault anything with the look. The purple looks slightly darker than I thought it would. I thought the purple would be slightly lighter. I'll compare it to a Piccolo figure later, because obviously the purple should match on that. A bit of shading there. You know, the sculpt looks really good. I can't really knock the proportions or the sculpt or anything like that. The back looks pretty good. The hairpiece, the faces, they all look amazing, pretty much. So yeah, I think I would definitely say that the look is perfect, even the shoes and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's nothing really to fault here. One thing I will say though is just with this, very scratch prone, so I would just be very careful with that and try not to hit against anything sharp, for sure, because obviously you don't want to scratch it, because the scratches, they will be obvious. Also the sleeves were stuck. Mine were. I had to actually get some tweezers and pull them out. So yeah, just a quick tip. So going through the articulation, sorry if you can hear the rain in the background, the weather's just got really bad all of a sudden. But yeah, going through the articulation, head moves down about that far, moves up about that far. You got side to side, you got tilt. Obviously the neck is going to move forward and back as well and tilt, so you've got a really nice range of motion all around there. So yeah, really good, really happy with that. Moving down to the torso, crunches forward about that far, which is decent. Back about that far. Then you've also got a swivel. Moving to the arms, can come up about that much. This could get caught, so just be wary of that. You've got your rotation, which will do a 360. You've got your butterfly joints, which is going to go back and forth. Then you've got your bicep swivel, standard. You've got double jointed elbows, but because of the muscle actually you do get a decent amount of range on that, to be fair. Yeah, no, you get a good amount of range. I was going to say because of the muscle molding there, it could hinder it, but actually doesn't, so that's pretty good. Then you've got your standard wrist peg for S.H.Figuarts, which you'll be able to swap out the hands on. And then you've got the hinge, which I'm trying to find so I can hinge. There we go. Which will hinge back and forth. You want to make sure you actually find the hinge before you move this, because you don't want to end up snapping the peg, especially with a figure that it's like this small. Yeah, the risk of snapping things is very much there. But yeah, pretty much standard articulation for the torso for a 3.0. This is a 3.0, by the way, if I forgot to mention. Then moving down to the legs, which is the scary part of this. So can kick forward a very good amount, by the way, like a really good amount. You're gonna get a really nice amount of range once if your figure has that problem. Shave down the peg, it will move really nicely. So yeah, a really nice amount of range there. And then it's not gonna Actually, yeah, it's going to kick back quite a bit as well. You've got a lot, because this is rubber as well. This piece here is rubber, so you're going to get a lot of range, because this will just move out the way when you try and move the legs. So you've also got a thigh swivel, which mine doesn't want to move, so I'm not even going to push it. Then you can kick out that far as well. So yeah, really good. You've got the double jointed knees, and then you've got the ankle swivel, you've got ankle pivot, and then the foot will go forward and back. This does stop it a little bit, but you're going to get enough, to be honest with you, for what you need to do. And then you've got the toe articulation, which is also very standard as well. So yeah, you can hear the squeaking, which is obviously where the oil has been added and whatnot. So yeah, a really nice amount of articulation, expected from a 3.0. And it is impressive having this much articulation on a small figure. So yeah, well done to them for that. So before we move on to like comparisons and whatnot, I just want to show you the main accessory, which is the cape. A lot of people were very excited for this cape, and I just want to show you how it looks on the figure. It does look really good. The wire is really nice on it as well. The head movement when you put the cape on, though, is non-existent. Essentially, you'll be able to maybe turn it like that, but up and down is just not a thing. So the cape really, you know, the wire is really nice. Actually, I think I want to speak about the wire a little bit. It's a flat wire, as you can see. It's a flat wire. It's not like a round wire like it usually is with wide capes, and I think this figure especially will benefit from a flat wire cape. I think round wire capes are very easy in terms of the wire snapping. Then the cape becomes like loose and just floppy, and then it kind of defeats the purpose of the wire actually being there. That's happened to a couple of my Mayfex figures actually, so yeah, it's quite annoying when that happens. But yeah, this flat wire I think won't have that problem. It, you know, it folds really nicely. So yeah, for photography and whatnot, that's going to be really good. But besides for photography and maybe display purposes on the shelf, the cape doesn't, it's not very practical. You can't really, you could turn his head, but you can't move it up or down. So unless you sort of utilize the ab crunch for it, which you could do, yeah, that's going to get in the way. But it is quite rubbery, and it does move out of the way in certain poses and whatnot. So yeah, it is very good actually, and I think it probably is the best that it will be. Now that all we kind of need is a Piccolo that has a cape like this, because I think that'll really benefit that kind of figure. So hopefully a 3.0 Piccolo soon with this kind of cape. And quickly, here is the windy hairpiece, the second hairpiece. This does look really nice actually. I think you know, this is something that they've started including with the sort of Saiyan figures recently, and I think it is really nice. I don't care for them like particularly. If they didn't have them, I wouldn't really complain, but for photography purposes and whatnot, yeah, this is really nice. But yeah, so I'm just going to go over all the faceplates because I think they deserve highlighting too, just because of how amazing they look. So first of all, we've got the wide-eyed faceplate. Next is the gritted teeth face. And finally here is that battle damaged face. That face that in that panel and in that shot in the anime where he sort of kind of snaps and that red line appears behind him. I am going to take that shot and I'll be posting that on my Instagram. So don't forget to check that out. Link in the description below. And one thing I've just noticed is that you can kind of see the sort of butterfly joint of the figure, because it's kind of shifted. The top part of the torso is kind of shifted, so I think I just need to move that back over. But yeah, let's move on to the comparisons. So moving on to comparisons, and our first comparison is the 3.0 Gohan next to the 2.0 Piccolo. Now this Piccolo does have a custom cape, similar to the system of this, actually. But this is obviously a lot better integrated because it's built into the shoulder guard. This is just the shoulder guard detached from the original plastic cape with the custom cape underneath. But yeah, these two look absolutely fantastic next to each other. And like I said, the purple is different, which it shouldn't be. I don't think it should be, at least. Anyone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the purple on Piccolo's outfit and Gohan's outfit is legit the exact same. But however, this is a 3.0, and I think they will be making a 3.0 Piccolo soon, so I think we'll see this shade of purple on that. But yeah, these two, besides from that, look absolutely great next to each other. I think the size difference is pretty accurate. So yeah, these two look great next to each other. So the next comparison we have is the 3.0 Gohan next to the Kid Gohan. So obviously this is Teen Gohan, this is Kid Gohan. Really like this figure, and I think the size difference is pretty good. Like I said again, the purple is completely different. This purple is closer to the purple that's on the Piccolo that we just showed. This purple, I think, is more accurate actually. So I think they are moving in the right direction with this purple shade. But as you can see, they are very, very different in terms of shades. So yeah, I think we will definitely end up seeing any character that has this purple in it will be the same as this and not go back to this in the 3.0 further on down the line. But yeah, these two look fantastic next to each other. So here we have the 3.0 Gohan next to the 3.0 Gohan, specifically the adult version. Now, this is probably one of the most hyped up figures I've ever seen, to be honest with you. I think when it came out, people loved it, and I still do really like this figure. And this figure is essentially this one. This one is essentially this one, but scaled down in terms of articulation and whatnot. I think the engineering on this one is probably a little bit better, but there was less problems with this one. So yeah, they're both really good in their own right, and they do look great next to each other. And I think it would be cool to do a Gohan action figure evolution, sort of side by side, where you start off with the Kid one, then you go to the Saiyan Armor one, then you go to this one, the Battle Damage one, the Super Saiyan 2 one, and then so on and so forth to Great Saiyan Man up to this. I'm sure someone might have already done that, but I don't have all of the Gohan figures, so as much as I would like to do that, I can't. So next comparison we have here is the Super Saiyan Goku, the 3.0, next to the Gohan. Now, this is probably one of the best action figures ever made, I'm not even going to lie to you. And this one in comparison isn't as good, but it's not really the same thing anyway. Obviously, they were able to do a lot more with this, and they got everything spot on with this as well. So, yeah. Also, in context, they wouldn't be standing next to each other anyway, because it's from different sagas. And I do think that we're going to start to see a lot more Cell Saga figures. Now, I think we'll start to see maybe the androids remade. Obviously, Cell 3.0 Cell is something that people have been begging for ages now. Yeah, just a lot of it. I think we got Trunks recently, the Saiyan Armor Trunks. So, yeah, I think we'll start seeing a lot more of those figures. And the final comparison I wanted to make, which is the Figuarts Cell figure, the model kit, next to the 3.0 Teen Gohan. Now, you know, it's a bit of a weird one, because this Cell figure is probably way more accurate than the S.H.Figuarts one. I don't have that one anyway. But in terms of size and whatnot, it's definitely more accurate. But I think this looks alright, you know. I think you'll definitely get away with this in terms of having these two on the shelf, fighting whatever. I think you'll definitely get away with this. I was expecting this to really tower over him, which it does, but not as much as I thought it would. So yeah, I think these are really good proportions. And I've always given this Figuarts model kit its credit. I think it's definitely better than the S.H.Figuarts, the Dragon Stars one, in terms of scaling and size. Because they're always downscaled when they do Cell, and I hope when we get 3.0 Cell, I think definitely will be the case that he will be a lot bigger like this one. So yeah, these two look perfect next to each other. So to sum up my final thoughts on this figure, I do still really like it, despite the problems that I've had with it. But the quality problems that I've had with it shouldn't be there in the first place. And it's the same with the Trunks. Obviously, I never reviewed the Trunks because I never had time. But obviously, everything was popping off and whatnot. And that was one of the most anticipated figures from the S.H.Figuarts line, alongside this as well. And to have the issue where the legs could break if you don't take them off and fix it yourself. And I'll be completely honest with you, in the process of trying to fix these legs, I can see that the peg has wear on it now, so it is weakened. So I'm not guaranteed to not break it in the future. It could break with like over time. So I don't think it will personally, because I think I've loosened the legs up enough to the point where there's not going to be enough pressure on it to break it. But there is stress marks on the pegs now, and that is a huge issue with this figure. I know it's not common, but it is one that I've had on my copy. But besides from that, I can't really complain. Maybe, maybe the fact that his thigh swivel doesn't move, that's probably a point that I would complain about. And his torso's like kind of scratch prone, so you could get scratches on it and stuff. Although some other S.H.Figuarts figures have had that in the past, and it's not that bad. But yeah, I think the main point is the quality issues and maybe the articulation not moving as fluently as I'd like. So I think overall, otherwise everything else is perfect. The look and the articulation points in general, the accessories, all that is perfect. So I think because of that, I'd have to give this figure a 7 out of 10. Knocking 3 points off, I think 3 points is fair enough to knock off for that kind of issue. You do want to be careful if you buy this figure. I believe it's about £60 that I paid for this, maybe, or maybe around 50-ish. So it's quite expensive for what, a small figure. So yeah, I would say it's worth it if the copy doesn't have issues, and if it does have issues, it can be fixed. And like I said, you would want to sand down the pegs and then oil them first. So that's the sort of tip I would give if you were going to buy this figure. And I would recommend that you do pick it up. Either that, or you could wait for a Super Saiyan 2 Battle Damage Gohan, because I don't know if a lot of people will want this one and that one if they release a new version of that. So yeah, overall, 7 out of 10. I do really like the figure. And I am gonna, do some photography stuff with it, pose it about, and yeah, push it to its limits without breaking it, hopefully. But yeah, that's it from me. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share with all your family and friends. And also don't forget to check out my Instagram, my TikTok, and my other socials down in the description below. But besides from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.